Hi everyone, welcome to Border Tanks with stewiejp. I'm Stewie and this is Elite Commando from Crazy Clan. Elite Commando was skillful enough to pick up an Object 907 in one of the recent campaigns on the Asia server, fighting with his clan on the global map at tier 6, 8 and 10, and he's been kind enough to send me a few replays featuring one of the reward tanks, the Object 907, which is a Russian medium tank. And have a look at it. It looks a little bit odd, looks a little bit like the Object 430 in my opinion. It's quite a low profile. And its standard rounds are APCR, which does 320 average damage, penetration of 264, which isn't too sloppy for standard rounds, penetration of 330 for the premium rounds, which is heat. And this lineup is on Sand River. It's an assault game, so obviously in an assault game, for those who don't play it or have it turned off in their game, you need to, if you're on Elite Commando side, you need to defend the green flag. If you're not on Elite Commando side, if you're on the attacking side, you need to attack the green flag. Obviously, killing all of the enemy tanks is even better and will result in a win. Now, looking at the lineup of the two sides, you can see, or the spread of the two sides, you can see Elite Commando side spread themselves out quite wide on the southwestern side of the map, and there's a couple of tanks on the eastern side of the map, and Elite Commando's having a nice look at the autoloader, the big French heavy tank, the AMX-50B, and I know what he'll be thinking. He'll be thinking as soon as that AMX-50B has unloaded his clip, I'll have some free shots at him. But he's pulling back because artillery, it sounded like artillery was firing, but there's no arty in this game. Maybe it was someone else, maybe a tank destroyer or something like that. And he's trying to keep these tanks lit for the snipers sitting behind him, and obviously get a little bit of damage off himself. He's already picked up 619 hit points of damage. He's letting that IS-3 know to fall back, because the IS-3 is only a tier, even though it's a good heavy tank, it's only a tier 8 heavy tank, and a lot of those tanks that are hanging around that area would have no problems at all penetrating the big Russian IS-3. So Elite Commando just sort of kicking back and keeping these enemy tanks lit for the moment, and every now and then putting a shot into the 50B. Of course, the AMX-50B is it's a well-respected tank. You've got to respect that autoloader, or any autoloader in the game. He whacks a blind shot towards, I don't know what that tank was, the Scorpion maybe, or the FV-215, 183. Anyway, he's moving back along the Sand River now. He's picked up 944 hit points of damage, which you can see on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. And now he's moving back into a central position where he can try and light up whatever tanks are in this northern central part of the map. Gets a nice cheap shot into the French light tank. He's rightfully being mindful of that Type 4 heavy. The Type 4 heavy, even though it's a tier 9 big heavy tank, it's got one of those derp guns like so many of the Japanese heavy tanks have, and those derp guns can take apart a medium tank without too much worry at all. Gets another shot into the AMX-1375, and he's got his eye on that Japanese tank, knowing that the Japanese tank will take a while to aim. But it looks like the Japanese heavy tank is aiming towards him, but he's using a bit of a peekaboo strategy here, just popping up, taking a shot, and popping back, not giving the Japanese heavy tank time to aim or even shoot. Even if he does fire, the trajectory of those Japanese shells, even though they can do a lot of derpy damage, they take a while to land. Now again, looking at the minimap, the enemy side have got a very strong presence on the northeastern side of the map. It looks like that's where they're going to push from. And there's two medium tanks up here, which Elite Commando's been clicking on, because he knows that these four friendly tanks here can easily overwhelm and outnumber those two tier 8 medium tanks. Looking for a shot on the Scorpion G. Even though the Scorpion G is only a tier 8, it's got a pretty strong gun. Premium German tank destroyer. And those looks like those two medium tanks on the northwestern part of the map have been dispatched by the T-57 Heavy with his super strong auto loader. So now it's good map awareness being shown here by Elite Commando. You can see he's got plenty of backup here, so he's running into the middle of the map to try and maintain some vision. The tanks to the left in the middle, that's Type 4 Heavy, he isn't going to have a massive view range, and he's not really going to be able to poke out too much because he'll become such a big target for the enemy team. Gets a shot into the Conqueror. Now that Conqueror is not spotted, but he throws another shot in there, and you can see the reload time of the Object 907 is absolutely awesome. Tippetty's running some good equipment in his tank, probably a rammer, and the fact that it's not too bad to aim suggests he's probably running a vertical stabilizer as well. Gets a couple of shots into the Death Star, taking him down to 956 hit points of health. And blind shots into where he was last seen. Having a little bit of trouble maintaining vision on those tanks on the eastern side, but he's found the Scorpion G and the Tier 9 Japanese heavy tank. It's been spotted by them, and then of course he sees a grill. Just misses a shot on the grill. He knows he'll be able to get another shot in before the grill reloads. Of course that grill has a pretty high alpha gun. He's loading high explosive ammunition here. Takes a shot from the grill. Of course that high explosive giving him nearly 400 hit points of damage into the turret of the big Tier 10 German tank destroyer. He wants to keep this grill lit, but he doesn't want to risk another shot from the grill. That grill hits him again, it'll take him down to a one shot. Of course, a grill can do over 700 hit points of damage if it hits you in the right spot. But now he's got the numbers in this area now. The Centurion 1 and the IS-3 doing the right thing and following Elite Commando into the centre of the map so that it's really going to distract any of the enemy tanks from pushing. Lucky enough to bounce a shot from the Type 4 Heavy and gets a shot into him, but it was high explosive, so it did absolutely nothing. But there's that 50B again. Takes the Tier 10 French autoloader out of the game, which has totally turned this game around. They were down by one or two tanks not so long ago. Gets another shot into the Type 4 Heavy. Still sticking with the premium rounds because that Japanese heavy tank could be a tough nut to crack, as you've just seen. And hoping for another shot. Will it be the kill shot? No, it won't. He's on 403 hit points, the big Japanese heavy tank. And he's got to be reloaded soon. Takes him down to 50 health. And then, of course, every man and his dog is looking for the seagull shot on the Tier 9 Japanese heavy tank. But no one's managed to penetrate him yet. He loses his ammo rack to TVP T5051, but he takes him out with the next shot. He's still got 500 hit points left, and that's probably all he's going to need. With the score at 11-6, now he's having a look at getting rid of that Scorpion G, which he does in style, just before the IS-3 tries to steal the kill. 13-6 is the score. You can see Elite Commando's already picked up 5,500 hit points of damage. For his 3 kills, he adds to that damage score by whacking a shot into the side of the Rheinmetall Borsig Waffenträger, the Tier 8 German tank destroyer. And now it's a case of keeping these TDs lit and making the most of this game and getting the most XP and the most score out of it. T-54 takes out the Death Star and he's searching for a shot on the RHM. That wasn't Elite Commando who just hit the RHM, but 6,200 hit points of damage in the end. Cops a shot from the IS-3 at the end, just for good measure. I'm not sure what that was all about, but as you have a look at the post-game battle results, not a bad game at all from our man Elite Commando from Crazy Clan, picking himself up an Ace Tanker Mastery Badge, Spotter, Bruiser, Fire for Effect, as well as a Confederate for hitting more enemy vehicles than any other player on his team, and of course the High Caliber for doing the most damage, which is at least 20% of the total hit points of the enemy vehicles. Looking at the second page of the post-game battle result, 1 hit point of damage off 6,200 damage, 3 kills, 1,323 base experience, which is not a bad result at all. You can see he did more than, apart from the T-57 Heavy, he did more than double what anybody else did in his team, and he comprehensively carried that one in his nice shiny objects. 907, 31 fired, 25 shots hit, 21 did damage, and that was enough for an ace tanker. And of course, he also picked up nearly 3,000 hit points of spotting damage and blocked 2,000, which greatly contributed. Cost him a bit of coin though. With a standard account, it cost him 30,000 credits. Would have been slightly in the profit region if you had a premium account, but all in all, not a bad result at all from Elite Commando from Crazy Clan, driving his Object 907. And of course, what's better than one replay featuring this awesome tier 10 reward tank? But two replays are always better than one. This time it's on mines, and it's the other version of the other alternate version of the game. It's encounter mode, where there's only one base. Not lucky enough to land that second shot. He's also on a mission here to do at least 4,000 hit points of damage to enemy tank destroyers. That's not going to happen in this game. There's only 2 tank destroyers on the enemy side. A tier 8 and a tier 9. I doubt they'd have 4,000 hit points between them. But the score, they're down by 2 tanks already, Elite Commando's side. And he catches a shell from the big German tier 10 artillery, so he's going to get out of that little spot. But he's already given himself 1,662 hit points of damage. He's blocked a little bit, and a little bit of spotting damage too. But he needs to get out of the gun sights of those 2 tier 10 artilleries. Gets rid of the T-49 for a start by going up the hill. Surprised nobody shot him there as he went up towards this ridge line. This ridge line where he's at now, you'd think it'd be safe from artillery hanging around here. But it looks like the enemy tanks have got a bit of a good presence here, but there's nobody else fighting them. They've got a lot of tanks over here approaching the flag though, and that's probably because Elite Commando's side were, not so long ago, were capping the base. Now the score's 2-4. They're down by 2 tanks at the moment. Let's see if Elite Commando can pull something out of the bag and try and get his team back into the lead. He bounces a shot from the IS-3. So he's shooting from just below that ridge line. And of course, because he's so close to those enemy tanks are spotting him just by proxy, just because he's so close to these tanks on the eastern side of the mine. T-54 lightweight, probably firing high explosives there, high explosive ammunition there. He only took 26 hit points of damage from the tier 8 Russian light tank. But with the score 4-5, it looks like Elite Commando's teams are in a spot of bother over this side. There's only 2 tanks left. They're both tier 8 tanks, tier 8 premium tanks, and they're vastly outnumbered. Again, mainly by tier 8s, but there is the STI there as well. T-54 Mod 1 thinks that he's best placed to be sitting at the back sniping. He's not going to get a shot into the Elite Commando like that. And I bet the driver of that premium Russian medium tank down here is regretting playing the camping game now as he gets sniped out by Elite Commando in his Object 907. He's already picked himself up 2 kills. Done nearly 4,000 hit points of damage, over 4,000 hit points of damage now, but that's not going to be enough. The score is 6-9, with only the Scorpion G defending the cap circle, with a little bit of help from the T11 OE4 back at the base where TDs often sit, who just took out that T34B, the new version of the American heavy premium tank. Elite Commando needs to get out of this position somehow. Artillery is obviously focusing on him. He's one of only 2 tier 10 tanks left in this game, and it'd be safe to assume that the other tier 10 has not been spotted. But he's using the quick rate of fire of the Object 907 to slowly take apart that RHM, and the RHM now is on probably just over a 1 shot. Oh no, 1 shot was enough, but Ferdinand helped take the tier 8 German tank destroyer out of the game and brings the score back to 10 all, now 11-10. 5,227 hit points of damage so far from Elite Commando. He needs to be careful using all his ammunition up. He's only got 23 shells left, which you'd think would be enough, but he's doing an absolutely wonderful job in this game on mines. The Ferdinand's come to play, and that Ferdinand is probably looking to take out the IS-3. Ferdinand clicking on the T11 OE4, the turreted American tank destroyer, which does have a fair amount of armour. You'd think it'd be pretty safe for this guy to start moving towards the cap now. But luckily for Elite Commando and his team, oh, there's that German artillery that shot him earlier. Can he beat him on the reload? The arty fires and misses, and Elite Commando picks up his third kill, taking the big German artillery piece out of the game. And now he's going to hide behind this rock to make sure the big T92 doesn't get a shot into him. And is that Jag Tiger going to present his side, allowing Elite Commando to reset the cap? Yes, he is. Takes him down to 1,043 hit points. You'd think the Elite Commando would still be spotted. He is. He gets shot, but he bounces the Jag, which is good because that would have taken him down to a one shot. And now he's just going to continue to beat him with the reload. Ferdinand continuing to click like crazy. And they're going to get rid of that IS-3. Does no damage with that shot, probably because it went into his tracks, and he is firing heat. And now it's just a case of finding that T92, the big heavy hitting American artillery piece. We know he's only just fired, and Elite Commando already picked up 7,224 hit points of damage that we've seen, as well as 4 kills. He wastes no time. He's heading straight for where these clickers generally sit, and there's generally not another place they can sit. Puts one shell into him, rams him, and confirms the kill. Ends up winning 15-10 after a game which looked a little bit like it was getting a little bit out of control. At the start of the match, it was looking like Elite Commando and his mates were about to get taken out early, but an awesome demonstration from Elite Commando from Crazy Clan, picking himself up an Ace Tanker Mastery Badge, Hand of God for surviving and winning the battle, having received damage from at least 4 different enemy vehicles, Spotter for all the spotting damage he did, Bruiser, Duelist, Fighter and Fire for effect, Confederate for hitting more enemy tanks than any other player on his team, and of course the High Caliber. Unlucky not to pick himself up a Top Gun, ended up walking away with 8,097 hit points of damage plus 5 kills, giving him a base experience of 1,358 base experience. That's without a daily double or a premium account. That's a standard base experience score. And he fired 32 shots, 28 hit, 25 did damage, which gave him 8,097 hit points of damage, 1,520 blocked, and 1,711 spotting damage. Not a bad result at all from Elite Commando in a pretty quick game on mines, going for less than 7 minutes. Thanks for those replays, Elite Commando. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed the Object 907 double shot of Ace Tanker action. Take care, and see you all next time.